Peace, y'all. So I'm about to try to do this again. Drinking some Gipper tea. Let's do this again. Y'all don't understand how many times sometimes y'all. Okay, we be having to record um or get back on after we come off of live because certain stuff isn't wanting to come off. Like that's why I'm over here, you know. Like when I start to scratch, I'm getting irritated, y'all. Spirit be with me, cover me, protect me. Ooh, cover my throat chakra, allow me to be utilized in the highest vibrational energy only. Connecting to my assign as I transmute this energy, all right, and being present and actually sharing what I know and what I understand and overstand because I understand. I say, um, the other day I got in this space where I was like questioning, spirit and just recognizing like it's a beautiful space, but it's so personal. Your spiritual journey is so personal. And however it is with you is however it is with you. So sometimes when we come on and we're sharing and we're making it personable, it's because we recognize that everyone has this individual thing that, you know, is with them. And it's like if you're in a conversation with yourself, you have yours. So, you know, it's not about cross referencing notes or anything like that. It's just confirmation. Like, yeah, all right. Spirit did say that. High five, spirit. Like Okay. It's a rant I just had. The question was, how will I know? How will I know? How will I know what discerns me? You know? And Spirit came back to me so dope. Spirit said, what I send you, what I send in won't compromise your values. It knows as well as you. Learn to spot the differences with apprehension versus anxiety. So you sit with yours in order to sort others. If you haven't, busy yourself or rest in the fact that you are the first priority with you. So it's like I want to pause there. Spirit, first of all, says, listen, don't be worried or stressed. You recognize that you've released this space and be present with the reality. Okay? What's the reality? The reality is the truth, and this is spiritual. What discerns me? Listen, what I send you is going to know that you on a mission and it's not going to take you off your mission. It's not going to confuse you. It's not going to. I tread lightly when saying uproot you in a way because I recognize that depending on where you at and how your vortex is cultivating, right? Sometimes you may actually show up in a space or at a rate with yourself where you might be the tower that needed to occur in order for the event to happen. You know, a lot of us recognize that sometimes we be walking towers, so we might get a destiny helper that comes in as a tower to us. So sometimes we might uproot some stuff, but spirit is saying that we have to learn to spot the difference with apprehension in a space versus anxiety in a space. If I am anxious in something, my anxiousness could also be me working out my nervous system. My anxiousness could mean not being present, not being aware of the herbs that I could use to work with me. But also my anxiousness could also me being in a space that's not meant, right? Apprehension, however, is, I wonder if I'm cautious here. I meditate on this. You know, Spirit will guide me right here. I'm not gonna just go into this saying yes. I have to talk to my. It's a group of people here that I have to consider and speak with before I make any decisions. This is business, right? A lot of the times when we get into a space of moving beyond fear and representing the action that we take, which is why we're questioning whether or not we have the ability to not be in the debilitating state, okay, in making decisions, right? And we're asking these questions. A lot of the time it's because we really don't trust our judgment, and we're wanting to test spirit on whether or not they have the ability to supersede our bad decisions that we've previously made in a more effective rate with our new way of being intuitively inclined by in ourselves, right? While in situations and said events. It's a mouthful, but I know that those who get it, right? Then the part where spirit was like, learn to spot the difference between the apprehension and the anxiety. So sit with yours in order to actually be present enough to know what these represent and look like on you. So, what does this look like? A lot of the times, y'all hear me talking about emotions as like entities and how you could be able to tap into these spaces depending on how deep you go with things. I believe that all can be accessed in meditation. I believe that this is a training space, so to speak. You have the ability to do and to, this is your own space, make it what you will, right? When you're dealing with things like emotions and you want to be more specific on how they are present and what your relation is to that said energy or entity, all right? So you could be able to eradicate it and remove it, or also be in a rate of representing how it interacts with you, so you're not taking ownership of it when it comes into your vortex or into your body, all right? So said things like fear or anxiousness and apprehension, being able to actually sit in meditation. Where are some spaces where I've been apprehensive, and going to those spaces, experiencing those spaces, getting to know, you and all the things about you, right? Mary Poppins. Then go into anxiety. I know how I've been with anxiety, so on and so forth. I can't know what I'm experiencing in this space if I'm not willing to sit with how I am in this space with me before I think about whether or not somebody has good or bad intentions, whether or not I think about whether I'm supposed to be in this space or not supposed to be here. And yeah, okay, maybe it's too much, maybe it's a lot, analytical. Okay, I got a lot of Virgo in my chart. Don't judge me, y'all. All right. But these are things that we could take into consideration when you represent the facts. And then Spirit basically also wanted to say that the reason why it's important that you learn how to decipher the difference between these two is because after you represent that you're the priority when you're coming into making these decisions, you also get to represent the truth and the facts, which is those who seek light also hold light that's not dwindling out. Those who keep light have an infinite source with specific poor receipts. We know not to go against universal law, and we study patterns and assignments. So we're not in a space where we're taking on, other people's energy because we might not be an assignment in this space. And that's where you have the truth and your clarity. Know that when you have two light sources coming together, it will represent different than one who's coming to basically be your assigned, and you're supposed to basically pour into this space versus it being something where you just, in the midst of it, flow regardless, but give yourself the opportunity to represent the fact that you've grown, and you'll be able to discern because you're will in the space of truthfulness with you in your discerning. Okay. I think that this is beautiful. All right. I love y'all. Peace.